morning/afternoon/evening, wherever you may be in the world. Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you all. Hi there, y'all welcome. Are y'all ready for some games? I hope so. It's gonna be a busy day, dudes. It's gonna be a busy day. We gotta get through this tournament, lickety split. And then after we get through this tournament, we gotta go deal with Warhammer Fest today. And then after Warhammer Fest, we gotta go deal with the trailer today. There is a lot to do. Yes, I know about the trailer. I've heard. I will be making a video about it later today. But for right now, we've got a tournament to do. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into it right now and start these games. So, our first match today, we're heading into the Cliff of Beasts, where we're going to have Potato Sauce's Warriors of Chaos versus RTK Clan's Jay Phoenix and his Skaven. Should be a pretty exciting tournament today. For those who are interested, the winner from last week, Alric Rawls Bretonians, have already been cast down from their throne of victory. Unfortunately for him, he faced a rather rough, brutal matchup of Dawi, and unfortunately Bretonians just could not penetrate that solid Gromrule defense. We'll have to see if the people who managed to take him down are gonna win it out today. But first things first, let's go over some armies. Starting off, we will start with Potato's Warriors of Chaos. Oh, look at that! He's got the Soul of Damnation. Very cool. The Regiment of Renown Hell Cannon. His army is being led by Sigvald the Magnificent, who's got most of his goodies. He's running Standard Die, Heroic Killing Blow, and of course he's got the Auric Armor. We've got a Sorcerer of Fire, who is only running with the Burning Head. We also have quite a few Marauder on horseback. We got 3 Horsemasters and 3 with throwing axes, 2 units of Chaos Warhounds, one of which is poisonous. Then over here, we've got 1 unit of Chaos Warriors, and then 5 units of Chaos Marauders. So a very, very wide Chaos army, backed up by the very heavy-hitting Soul of Damnation, who is also guarded by a group of Chaos Warriors with halberds. Alright, then over here on the Skaven side of things, being led by RTK Phoenix, we have... who's leading this mess? Ah, there he is. Throt the Unclean, the man, the myth, the legend himself. So Throt the Unclean is coming in with both Remoldered and his summon, Beast Pack. We've also got a Plague Priest here who has both of the summon spells, Vermintide and Pestilent Birth. We've got, looks like 3 units of Rat Ogres, 2 units of Poison Wing Globadiers, 2 units of Jezzails, I think 1 unit of Wolf Rats, 2 units of Death Runners, bringing up that back line. We've got quite a, looks like 2 units of Clan Rats with Spears, 3 units of Skaven Slave Spears, 2 units of regular Skaven Slaves, and in the center, a regular unit of Clan Rats. So 2 very, very large armies going against one another. It's going to be the Monster Mash versus the Artillery. So the nice thing about Chaos is that he is in a really nice position to dictate the pace of the battle, because he does have that really nasty Hell Cannon. However, that's not what I wanted. There we go. What is the button to get rid of... there it is. Alright, so we've got shots coming in from the Hell Cannon. Already landed 1 good blow on the Poison Wing Globadiers. Yeah, it's good to see you guys. Welcome to everyone in chat. We'll do some hellos and stuff between the matches. But we are on a tight schedule today, so we're trying to just get through games as quick as we can. We are already in the quarterfinals, of course, for this tournament. We did start off with a little bit more than that. I think there were about 19, 20 people signed up today. And we are joining in with the games when there's only 8 folks left. Already we can see that the Soul of Damnation is actually putting a ton of punishment on the Skaven army. The Jezzails, the Poison Wing Globadiers, they're all taking a lot of damage. Those guided shots from the Hell Cannon are just wreaking absolute ruin on the Skaven. If he can get his Jezzails into range, though, he's going to be able to do some pretty good damage and probably take it out very, very quickly. Hell Cannons are quite vulnerable to counter battery fire, and here we go. So the Skaven have now got it in range and are firing in on the Hell Cannon, but Chaos is not wasting any time. The Legions of Damnation have decided to swarm in and are already completely punching through the front line. We've got Marauders coming around the flanks, throwing axes and all sorts of other stuff into these Rat Ogres. We've got a really nice little thread of the needle here from these Chaos Warhounds who are going to jump into these Poison Wing Globadiers. They're probably not going to stick around too long because they are getting sandwiched between a lot of units in their attempt to get a rear charge. The Soul of Damnation has been destroyed, so Chaos no longer has their Hell Cannon, so they are not going to be able to get like really massive pot shots, but a really good Burning Head goes right down this unit of Clan Rats and kind of clips this Summon unit, just immediately shattering this unit of Skaven. They are getting the hell out of dodge. They are not interested in being burned up to death. Down here, we do see that the Skaven army has been entirely surrounded. The balance of power is slightly in favor, actually, of the Skaven. With the Soul of Damnation down, it got only to use about a quarter of its ammo. It was pretty hard countered by the Jezzails, and it has been pretty much wiped out. We do see the Chaos Sorcerer here is being chased off by Throt the Unclean and his summon of Rat Ogres. However, he is going to be protected, at least attempt to be protected, by the Halberds, but he just plows right through them, runs right through the Halberds, and he is much faster than that heavily armored Chaos Horse, so it's going to be very difficult for that Chaos Sorcerer to get away. Meanwhile, Sigvald is just having a ball of a time, cleansing the world of ugly as he does. He just has no tolerance for things that are not at least as beautiful as he is, which is not much. Meanwhile, over here, we do see that the Marauder Horsemen are trying to trade with the Poison Wing Globadiers, that it's a difficult trade for them, especially because they're so condensed. They really need to spread out because some of these guys are getting hit by the damage over time just through association, essentially being too close. Over here, we do see that the Death Runners are actually in pretty good health, doing a really good job protecting the center of the army and preventing Chaos from getting like a really good situation going. The Chaos Sorcerer has been routed, and looks like Throt the Unclean will be escorting him fully off the battlefield, and things are looking very, very good for the Skaven. The Skaven are significantly ahead in the balance of power. The only thing really holding them together at this point is Sigvald. The Soul of Damnation was such an expensive and powerful piece in the Chaos Army, but unfortunately it just got sniped out way too early by the Jezzails and just had a really, really rough time there. We do see there's not really a ton left going for Chaos. The only thing they really have is Sigvald is still like really, really high up in health, but there's no real infantry blocks left. Like the only thing left are the Chaos Warriors with Halberds. Most of the Marauder units have been defeated or seen off. Sigvald here is trying to get to the Plague Priest, but the Plague Priest does see him coming and summons a big old horde of rats along with these Death Runners, and he just doesn't care, running forward and shanking that Plague Priest without giving two... He just could not care less about all of these vermin. But it looks like he does turn to fight them a little bit. He is now getting surrounded. He does need to be careful because his armor is going to be significantly reduced from fighting those Death Runners. Meanwhile, we do see the Marauder Horsemen are trying to get some good picks in this battle, but I just don't see them turning this around. There's just so many vermin. There are so many Skaven still left on the battlefield. Sigvald's leadership is already starting to get really shaky. He is, of course, being debuffed from leadership by the contamination from the Plague Priest, which is that if a Plague Priest or Plague Monk Censer Bearers or Lord Skrull hit you in close combat, they actually lower your leadership, which is super duper nasty and not a lot of fun. So we do see that Sigvald is doing his best to stabilize, but he is completely surrounded by non-friendlies. This Marauder Horseman unit seems to really be the only thing left on the field, except for this one big unit of Chaos Warriors with Halberds, but they are so out of position. Throt the Unclean is making his way back into the center of the battlefield. More summons are coming down from the Plague Priest, who is kind of having a rough time trying to deal with Sigvald. but it looks like army losses are swinging in, and that is going to be army losses. Sigvald decides, you know what? I don't feel like being here anymore. There are other places I could be. I could be doing something a lot more interesting and decadent. And with that, Potato Sauce is going to pull out of the game, and that is our first match for today. So the Skaven are going to be pulling ahead and advancing to the semifinals. When we look at how they did on value, we see that the one of the units of Rat Ogres actually performed exceptionally well. The Rat Wolves got over 1,000 gold in value. The Wolf Rats did very, very well, doing a great job just running around picking off units. Both the Jezzails got really solid value, especially this unit that had a lot of its models left over. They got almost 2,000 gold in value, so I'm guessing they're the ones that got the killing shot on the Soul of Damnation. But this one did well for themselves as well. Both the Globadiers got extremely good value, another one getting nearly 2,000 gold in value. Death Runners did pretty good for themselves, almost more of a support troop, and of course all the Slaves and Clan Rats just got absolutely obliterated. Throth the Unclean got some decent value, dealing with the Chaos Sorcerer. And over here we see Sigvald did well. The Chaos Sorcerer got taken out pretty early. I think he only got a single burning head off. The front line were able to get a bunch of value from punching through all the Skaven, but none of these Marauders were really able to get anything meaningful out. And the Soul of Damnation, unfortunately, was not able to perform nearly as well as it needed to, simply because it got outranged by the Jezzails and just blown to pieces before it could manage to get rid of them. So, yeah. Definitely a rough first game for the Warriors of Chaos, but they fought extremely well. But the Skaven just had a really nice hard counter to deal with that pesky war machine. So it is now time for us to move to our next match. And give me just a hot second, my dudes. Close that. Open that. Open that. Alright, so that is going to be game 1. So game 2, we're going to have, let's see. Let's pull in Lunacy versus Hadries. Chat, I hope you're all doing well today. At least down here in Texas, it is a beautiful day. So yes, yeah, Warhammer 3 did get an announcement thing today. I am very much looking forward to making a video about that later today. Unfortunately, from like a time standpoint, right now I am super swamped, so I'm not gonna be able to get to it until after the stream later today for Warhammer Fest. That is, if we make it on time to Warhammer Fest, which is I doubt, but we're gonna try our best. But I'm gonna be covering Warhammer Fest if anything interesting happens there, and then after that, later today, we will do a video regarding the teaser for Total War Warhammer 3. I am very excited. I did take a look at it. I'll be talking about all that jazz later on. Alright, we've got Hadries here. Now we're just waiting on our next person. Have I also been at the event for the battle like other content creators? Vitarius, I'll be talking about everything regarding the teaser and all that news and jazz later today. I am not answering too many questions on it right now just because I haven't had a chance to really like look at everything. Like I pretty much like got up, did some stuff, and then was like had to get everything ready for the tournament stuff. So I just haven't had a lot of time to deal with Warhammer 3 stuff yet today. Tomazek, good to see you, my dude. We're going to be heading into the Bloodpine Woods for this match. Why do you hate Warhammer 3? Get here, Professor Pone! It's so wonderful to see you all here today. And hey, it's Wednesday, my dudes. We're about halfway through the week. What's my expectation about today's news for Warhammer Fest? I just want an official day for when Git Slayer is coming out. That's all I want. I'm also really hoping they're going to do a novel or a series of novels that takes place during Broken Realms. I doubt it's going to happen, but I'd love to see that. Anyway, let's go ahead. My voice is just like... So, let's start with Hadries. Hadries! Look at Hadries bringing Nakai! We've got the Wanderer, the big gator himself. So the Wanderer has arrived. He does have the Golden Tributes item for that perfect Vigor aura. He's also got the Miasma of Despair. We've also got a Skink Priest of Heavens here, who, interesting enough, is running Harmonic Convergence and Urian's Thunderbolt. Urian's Thunderbolt, very, very good spell for blowing up, like, siege equipment or things that are stationary. We've also got the Cohort of Sotek, the Regiment of Renown Red-Crested Skinks. We've got the Shredder of Lustria, the big dino, the big boy dino himself. We've got a Bastillodon with a Revivification Crystal here to provide some heals. And then just so many Feral Cold ones. So we got the Raptor Pack. Big ol' Raptor Pack here ready to throw down. And then last but not least, a very nasty hidden front line of Chameleon Skinks. Meanwhile, over here, the noble Knights of Bretonnia, being led by Lunacy, have arrived. They are led into battle by the Fey Enchantress, who has her item. She's got the Chalice of Potions. She also has the Favor of the Fey, which I actually don't see that often nowadays. She has both Dwellers Below and Earthblood, as well as her usual aura. Then we have two Paladins that are naked, but flying on Pegasi to provide support and also fight some big old monsters. A front line of 5 Peasant Mob. A back line of 4 Mounted Yeoman Archers, one of which is the Wardens of Montfort ROR. Then we've got a unit of Grail Knights here on the flank, along with 4 units of Knights of the Realm and 2 units of Spearmen at Arms on foot. So the game has begun! We've got a classic 5th edition Tabletop Showdown, which was actually the edition that the Lizardmen were introduced, and in their initial box set, they actually came against the Bretonians as their starting enemies. This should be a pretty interesting match. The Feral Cold ones, I think, are actually going to have a fairly hard time finding, like, a good home. They're not nearly fast enough to catch these Mounted Yeoman Archers, and there's no, like, easy grabs on the infantry sides of things for them to go after. I'm curious how Hadries is going to utilize them. However, between the Shredder of Lustria and the 4 units of Chameleon Skinks, Hadries does have basically a just hysterical amount of poisoned machine guns that are ready to just pew-pew everything around them into oblivion. But Bretonnia does have quite a few tools to potentially deal with this. He just needs to pick his engagements very, very carefully. So we do see that Nakai and his lads seem to be falling back, and it looks like he's going for a flanking maneuver, trying to position all of his big stuff on the opposite side of the battlefield from all these knights. And likely what he's doing is trying to make it so that the Bretonians are going to have a hard time getting nice, healthy engagements. We do see already that one of the peasant mobs is tired of getting shot up and is likely going to be quitting and trying to head back to their fields here pretty soon. Meanwhile, Nakai and his little guide unit of skinks here are all coming in, and here comes a big charge from the big man himself, and yeah, a lot of those peasants are immediately going to be quitting the field and heading off to greener shores. Meanwhile, this unit of Feral Cold Ones has caught onto a flanking unit of peasant mobs and is going to be absolutely eviscerating them. Meanwhile, the Bretonian Knights are riding in, shouting for the lady as they come in on the biggest dino anyone has ever seen, save the legendary Thunder Lizards themselves. Paladins are diving in on the Chameleon Skinks, likely trying to get some damage on them. If the Chameleon Skinks can get taken out of commission, that is going to hurt the engagement of the Lizardmen substantially. But here we do see that the Feral Cold Ones Hadries gets a perfect counter charge, jumping in on these Knights of the Realm. And these Feral Cold Ones do, of course, have very substantial armor piercing. And with all of the poison and the leadership debuffs caused by the Shredder of Lustria being nearby, along with his terror, these guys are actually going to get terrified and start running for the hills. Here we see the Bretonnians are doing everything in their power to catch out the Chameleon Skinks, doing as much damage as they possibly can, but the Shredder of Lustria is coming in. Godzilla is in here, and he is not taking no for an answer, ripping one of these Paladins straight in half. Meanwhile, the Chameleon Skinks just continue to fall back, and are doing everything they can to just keep shooting up. The Grail Knights are in decent shape compared to much of the list, but already one of the Paladins is below half health and is being forced to fall back. Looks like we do have a Chalice of Potions coming down with a great hit. Unfortunately, it bounces off the Shredder of Lustria, but it does do some pretty okay damage to the cohort of Sotek, and does cause almost all of the Feral Cold Ones to become enraged. So Hadries has lost control of all four of the Feral Cold Ones, and they're just going nuts in this battlefield, trying to rip things apart. Meanwhile, it looks like the Shredder of Lustria decides that the Fey Enchantress is on the menu. He wants some of that. He wants some of that lean meat, but he is getting a little distracted, slamming in on some other things. The Paladins have all rallied and are looking for a place to join into the battle. We do see that all these archer units are now being swarmed by these enraged Cold Ones, but there are some Knights coming in that should be able to effectively deal with them, though they are likely going to get a fair amount of kills. Over here, we do see that the Knights are doing their best to defend the this other flank from the Bretonnians. They've got some Paladins helping escort them, and they've actually managed to break 3 units of Chameleons. So 3 units of Chameleons have been broken, but they're running into the forest where they will have an easier time escaping from the attention of the Bretonnians. It probably would not be a bad thing to have those Paladins guide them off the battlefield. Meanwhile, we do see the Bretonnians are dedicating as much effort as they can to getting rid of these Feral Cold Ones. They need to get them off the field. The Feral Cold Ones do actually have a pretty decent amount of armor at 90 armor, so they're fairly resistant to low-tier damage like these basic archers and peasant mobs. So they're actually managing to do a pretty significant amount of damage to everything that they're fighting before they get seen off the battlefield, just because there's so many of them. Over here, we do see that the cohort of Sotek is still in great shape, only having lost about 13 models. The Bastiladon is still getting lots of beautiful heals onto the Dreadsaurian, who is happily sitting at practically full health. His machine gun giant bolts, along with all the skinks on his back throwing javelins, are doing a great job harassing people. And Hadries is just getting so much work done with the Shredder of Lustria. The Shredder of Lustria is such a powerful piece if you have the micro to make sure that he stays where he needs to, doesn't get isolated or focus fired by lots of smaller targets. Meanwhile, we do see that I think Bretonnia's really only hope to effectively kill the Dreadsaurian is all these units of mounted yeoman archers who are doing their best to kind of kite around and are probably looking for a place where they can get in a lot of really good shots on him. It looks like the Bretonnians, though, are fully dedicated to trying to get rid of these Chameleon Skinks, which is a good strategy in my opinion. If they can get rid of all the Chameleon Skinks, they can then dictate the pace of the battle as far as being able to choose like where the fighting is going, and they're also going to significantly reduce the amount of damage they take from kind of just casual strafing fire. Meanwhile, the Shredder of Lustria has shattered off most of the peasant units. We do see that there actually are some full health spearmen at arms that were avoiding the battle, or at least being held in reserve. They are trying to fall back, but unfortunately for them, they're just too slow, and they're instantly terrified. Peasant leadership already is not good, but with the leadership debuff from the Shredder of Lustria and a rear charge from a unit of Cold One Riders, they instantly break despite being at full health. Over here, we do see that the Chameleon Skinks have once again been broken off, but they're not shattered, so they are going to be coming back into the fold. The balance of power has shifted slightly in favor of the Lizardmen. They are getting a really nice, easy pick here, making sure the Spearmen of Arms are leaving the battlefield and have gained no value whatsoever. They will be shattering any moment now, considering that they're just taking consistent fire. Yep, there's the shatter. We do see the Bastiladon's a little isolated here by himself in the back, but the Bastiladon does, of course, have 140 armor, and he also has missile resistance, so he could not care less if these mounted yeoman archers try and ping him in the butt. So they really do need to save their ammo, because they are the only thing the Bretonnians have to deal with the Dreadsaurian. There's really nothing else out here, I think, that's going to have a great chance at killing him. There is still actually a decent amount of Grail Knights, though. alive on the battlefield, and 2 paladins, one of which has healed up back to full thanks to the Fey Enchantress. Over here, we do see the Chameleon Skinks have finally been escorted off the battlefield by the last remaining Knights of the Realm, and we are preparing now for the final showdown between these 2 armies. Looks like the Seraphon do actually pop another heal from the Bastillodon onto these Feral Cold Ones, which of course that is one of the best heals in the game, the Revivification Crystal, because it brings back models, which is normally something only vampires can do. We do see Hadries does actually get some Chameleon Skinks back over here. The Lizardmen did not quite manage to see them off. Urian's Thunderbolt does come down here, and it's a great shot, picking off 2 Grail Knights. That is pretty good value for just a nice little cheap spell. It's not super cheap, but, you know, damage is damage. Shredder of Lustria now is in range to start opening fire, and that is exactly what he's going to do, unleashing just a disturbing amount of shots on all these poor souls. It looks like the giant bolts are aiming more towards the flying paladins, and it sounds like the final battle of this conflict has begun. The Fey Enchantress does run in on the red-crested skinks, who are going to take damage from her ability. The Dread Saurian is going to counter, trying to go in on her, but it looks like he's going to take a Night Snack instead. The big can opener is being slowed down as he is slowly but surely surrounded. Meanwhile, the Paladins are diving in on Nakai, where they're going to get a big duel to try and fulfill their oaths to the lady. These archers do need to start shooting in on the Dread Saurian as quickly as possible, but unfortunately the Peasant Swarm, whose job here is to hold all this stuff in place, do immediately break because the Miasma of Despair is unleashed, lowering their leadership, which when comboed with the Shredder of Lustria's natural leadership debuff and terror results in them all routing or being terrified just immediately. The Revivification Crystal does get off a nice heal on the Dread Saurian, keeping him in good health, and the Bretonnians are now in Problem City. They have so many things they need to deal damage to, and just, you know, they're already halfway through all their ammo. There is so much left between them and potential victory. Looks like they are now focusing their attention on the cohort of Sotek, who of course are very, very vulnerable to missile fire. They don't have shields, they're very low armor, and their missile resistance is pretty much non-existent. Fey Enchantress does get off a very nice Earthblood heal there, getting some more units back into better health. Cohort of Sotek are trying to fall back to greener pastures and safety. Feral Cold are broken off, and now it's just down to the Monster Mash. So we do have the Shredder of Lustria charging in and just obliterates half of the Grail Knight unit. They are not going to be coming back from that one. Yeah, they are shattered. The Grail Knights decide this is not worth it. No lady is worth this much effort. Gotta watch out for yourself first. Another unit of the Knights of the Realm is shattered, and the Bretonnian army is starting to fall apart. They've just taken so many casualties. They really, really, really need to stabilize and start doing some significant damage against the Shredder of Lustria here. Meanwhile, the cohort of Sotek has popped their Refuse to Die, so despite the fact they're at low health and fighting at this very moment, they are not going to take too much damage. We do see that both the Paladins dive down on Nakai, and they're doing their best to mess him up as much as they can, but he turns around and immediately slap-chop suies one right in the face, causing this guy to get terrified from all of the leadership debuffs around here. The Fey Enchantress is kind of weaving in and out of combat, trying to find a good place, but it would be good for her to be in combat so she could provide that -5 melee attack bonus. We do see more Knight units are charging in, but another unit of the Knights of the Realm is shattered. The balance of power is swinging more and more and more in favor of the Lizardmen. The Fey Enchantress leadership is looking really, really sketchy. Another Paladin has broken due to terror. The balance of power is swinging heavier. The Fey Enchantress has broken. She's routing. And with her routing, the Bretonnian leadership is on the absolute edge. Army losses could kick in at any moment now if she does not rally soon. We do see that the Dread Saurian has lost a little less than a quarter of his health. He is still in relatively good shape, but Nakai is getting focused down really, really hard. I don't know how long until the Bastillodon has another cast ready to go. We do see another heal goes down from the Fey Enchantress, who has rallied and is trying to keep things situated. Harmonic Convergence goes down the Shredder of Lustria, making sure that he takes less damage in a duel-type scenario or from anyone charging him from any particular angle. The Fey Enchantress, though, is just taking an absolute beatdown from the Shredder of Lustria's shooting attacks. But Nakai is also taking a significant amount of fire. That is something he's quite vulnerable to. But hey, look at that. Bretonia's out of ammo. So Bretonia has no more ammo left. Their only option, excuse me, now is melee. That's all they've got left. I do hear the Bastiladon go off, so the Revivification Crystal does go off on Nakai, so he's going to be healing 600 health. Meanwhile, he is taking damage from people around him, and I just don't see a way out for Bretonia. I just don't see a way out. They had a really solid army, and yeah, there we go. Army losses are kicking in, and that's going to be game 2. So the Lizardmen of Lustria are going to claim victory from Bretonia. Let's take a quick look here at the aftermath. Nakai came in with some pretty decent value. He got some nice slaps on various forms of infantry. The Skink Priest, you know, did his job mostly as a support or buff piece. The red-crested, the Cohort of Sotek got their value. That's what's most important. The Chameleon Skinks actually got sniped out pretty hard. One of them managed to get his money back, but the rest actually seem to have underperformed. But they did spend most of their time just kiting the Bretonians and doing as much early damage to them as possible. The Feral Cold Ones actually did exceptionally well. All of them got their money back, and 2 of them practically doubled their value from that. They got a really nice set of counter charges in on the Knights trying to go up against the Chameleon Skinks. Bastiladon got a little bit of value in, but of course most of his value was in from heals, which he got a substantial amount in. And then the Shredder of Lustria coming in with 5,500 gold in value. My God. So yeah, he performed exceptionally well. Meanwhile, over on the Bretonian side, the Fey Enchantress came out pretty nicely with almost 1,500 gold in value. Both the Paladins definitely struggled, but I just don't think they were able to really find a home. They spent a lot of their time trying to chase off Chameleon Skinks, and anytime they tried to dive in, they almost got immediately countered by the Dreadsaurian, just slapping them around and doing just so much damage. Some of the Knights got some pretty good value, but some also did not. They definitely had a hard time. You could tell that they were having, a lot of them were unfortunately on duty for trying to chase off the Chameleon Skinks or got countered really heavily by charges. And the mounted mounted yeoman archers, which are not cat people, actually got extremely good value, but they were able to use all their ammunition, so that does add up. Alright, so that's going to be it for that match. So we are on to the next one, which is going to be Bob Thresh versus Human Boy. Yes. So good game to both Hadries and his opponent. Lunacy, they both played really well. That was actually a very good game. There were a good couple of moments where I thought Bretonia had a reasonable chance to pull things back, but they just weren't quite able to get around just the sheer mass of just mess that was utilized by Hadries. And Hadries, of course, has a just fantastic micro when it comes to defending his Dreadsaurian and keeping it in position. So as soon as Bob gets in here, we'll be heading off to the next game. Goodness. All right, both players have arrived. So we've got Human Boy Yes with his Clan Eshin Skaven versus Bob Tresh. And what is he bringing today? Is he bringing Beastmen or something else? Let me check. List, Bob. Where is Mr. Bob? Bob is bringing Lizardmen. So we've got a classic showdown here. Lizards versus Skaven. A match made in hell. So when they're ready, we'll head into the game and see which of these totally not beastmen come out on top. Can I speak any other language? Me personally? No, I'm lame. I only speak English. I can very vaguely understand Spanish. Very vaguely. Like, so vaguely that it's difficult. And my understanding of Japanese has gotten better, but it's still terrible. But the only thing I can speak is English, because I'm stupid. Alright, here we go! So, let's start with the Lizardman this time. Or no, I started with Lizardman last time. Let's start with the Skaven this time. So, for our totally human boy, yes, he is heading into the battle with a Gracier of Plague. He's got the Dreaded 13th, Pestilent Breath, and Vermintide on top of all the other goodies for being on a Screaming Bell. We've got a Warlock Engineer with Howling Warp Gale to deal with any flyers, an Assassin with all of his goodies, both Trophy Heads, or sorry, not Trophy Heads, that's Squeak. The Rival Hide Talisman and the Assassin's Trophy for buffs, for various debuffs to help kill people. We've also got a Plagueclaw Catapult, some artillery to dictate the pace of the battle. We've got Natty Bubo Sharpshooters, the ROR Warplock Jazales, the Teeth Breakers, the ROR Rattling Guns, 2 units of Poison Wind Globadiers, 2 units of Rat Ogres, 2 units of Wolf Rats with Poison, and then we've got a whole line of, looks like we've got 4 or 5, looks like 5 units of Clan Rats with Spears, and then 1 unit of regular Clan Rats. So actually a pretty elite Skaven army compared to most we see. No slaves. They left the slaves at home. This time it's all Clan Rat. All Clan Rat. Meanwhile, from Bob Thresh, we've got Tresh. We've got 3 units of Chameleon Skinks in the front line, backed up by 4 units of Skink cohorts, with the cohort of Sotek bringing up the center line. A whole bunch of Kroxigors. This is Kroxigor City. 5 units of Kroxigors, 2 of which are Sacred Kroxigors, 3 of which are the classic variant. The army is led by a Kroxigor Ancient, who has the Horn of Kygor and the Amulet of Itzel to provide a really nice buff on the charge. Hopefully he remembers to use that. I always forget that item. And the Amulet of Itzel, and then he's also got an Arc of Sotek Bastillodon. I like this army. This is a really interesting army. He prefers to be called Bob Fresh. Alright, already we've got catapults opening fire right into the cohort of Sotek, killing off 5 skinks right from the get-go. Not a bad volley. We do see that Refuse to Die is popped as a counter. And already the bell is tolling, and we've got Clan Rats coming out to join the fun. The shot does land on the red-crested skinks, but they have Refuse to Die active, so they don't lose any models. They're totally fine. You know, they take some damage, but, you know, what's damage when you're functionally immortal, at least for a few seconds? Alright, we do see that the Skaven ranged units are just about ready to start firing. Already, engagement has started with the summons that are doing their best to just hold out the Lizardmen. And then in comes the machine guns. The Rattling guns are starting to fire. It looks like their arc of fire, though, may be blocked pretty significantly by the Poison Wind Globadiers, who are throwing in as many shots as they can. We do have a Dreaded 13th. Oh, big Dreaded 13th. Pretty much immediately deals with those skinks. However, there's a skink priest out here. Yeah, there is a skink priest with Pan's Impenetrable Pelt, and who did actually cast the upgraded version, so all these Kroxigors in the center have a speed buff and physical resistance. He's also getting off Flocks of Doom. So we do see these Stormburn with Halberds are going in for a rear charge on these Kroxigors, which is probably going to tear them apart. They are a pretty hard counter. And the Kroxigors, I do think will have a hard time just because there's so much anti-large with all of these Skaven that have lots and lots and lots of spears. However, the Poison Wind Globadiers do look to be doing most of the damage. The left flank here has pretty much collapsed for the Lizardmen. There is already a shattered unit of Sacred Croxagores, and this unit is starting to get surrounded by Rat Ogres and Spears and all sorts of other nasty stuff. This Summit unit of Storm Vermin is almost on the way out, which as soon as they're gone, that should provide some relief to the Lizardmen. We do see here that the Croxagores, the Bastiladon, and the Ancient Croxagore actually have managed to get onto the Brazier of Plague. If they can stay on him and do some really good damage, they might be able to pull out some really nice advantages. Meanwhile, we do see the Skaven actually have some very out-of-position units in the far flank. Likely they were chasing something off, but Human Boy needs to get those units back as quickly as possible. The Jezzails and the Rattling Guns currently are both doing a good job of staying unengaged so that they're able to keep shooting. Well, okay, I spoke too soon for the Rattling Guns. They are now currently in a fight. But we do see that a lot of the ranged Skaven units are managing to stay in a position where they're able to keep shooting, which is going to be critical. They need to keep their shooting units free of the Lizardmen, and conversely, the Lizardmen need to shut down these units. I think whoever wins that particular contest is going to come out on top. We do see here that the Lizardmen, now that those Storm Vermin are gone, were able to push to the left flank. They have seen off all the Rat Ogres, but of course they will be back sooner rather than later. The Ark of Sotek does summon all sorts of wriggling little snakes, the only swarm unit in the game, actually, that you can reliably bring into multiplayer, which is a super cool effect and something I wish they did with more armies. But in any event, we do see that the Skaven flank over here is completely gone, but a lot of it is starting to rally and coming back into the battle. A Scorch is coming down from the Skaven, but oh, that's going to do some friendly fire. Not too bad, though. He did position it pretty well. So here we do see that the final battle has really begun. The Horn of Kygor has been popped on all of the Lizardmen, massively buffing their melee attack and charge bonus. Looks like a big block of Doom goes down, trying to get rid of all these Skaven, and the Screaming Bell is doing everything it can to just summon more and more and more and more rats onto the battlefield and do everything it can to see these guys off. This little battlefield right here is very, very intense as both sides are trying to gain the upper hand in this particular combat. There are some Rat Ogres in here, but most notably, there's only one unit of Croxagores. The Sacred Croxagores are the only thing booing up Hadries' Lizardmen, or not Hadries, Bob Tretch's Lizardmen right now. And they are definitely having a bad time. And look at that. Oh, wow, look at that. The Natty Boobo Sharpshooters are actually getting a perfect arc of fire shooting over the melee combat into the Croxagore Ancient, which being a rank 9 Regiment of Renown, they actually have very, very good accuracy, and even if they miss, who cares, right? It's Skaven. So they're doing significant damage to that Croxagore Ancient, and there aren't too many Croxagores left on the battlefield. That Croxagore Ancient, oh gosh, somebody needs to cover him! Somebody cover him! Get down, Mr. President! He's taking so much damage! Oh my gosh, he's taking a lot of damage. But we do see that a really nice cast of the Ark of Sotek does actually break this entire Skaven battle line, and now he has slammed into Natty Boobo Sharpshooters and is doing everything he can along with the cohort of Sotek to get them off the battlefield. The Lizardmen need to get rid of this massive horde. They cannot allow it to rally and come back into the field, or they're gonna have a bad time. We do see, however, much of it is starting to rally. The Croxagore Ancient is just trying to stay alive, because if he goes down, there's actually not a lot of strong leadership left on the battlefield for the Lizardmen. Most of the units that are left are just Skinks and Croxagores, which don't really have the highest leadership, and they really do struggle if the general goes down. The balance of power is in favor of the Skaven, but if the Lizardmen can maybe somehow magically get a good pick somewhere, they might be able to come out on top. We do see that the Skinks are doing their best to stay on top of Natty Boobo Sharpshooters and run them down, which is a really, really good plan. However, the Teethbreakers have rallied. There is a very convenient hill directly in their line of sight, which is preventing them from shooting into the battle, but who knows how long that will last. Meanwhile, we do see the Ark of Sotek gets off another beautiful cast on these Rat Ogres, whose health is just going to disintegrate. They have very, very low armor. They get a full surround, and that unit's going to get absolutely torn to pieces. However, the Screaming Bell is still in very good health and does manage to break this unit of Skinks. providing some relief for Natty Bubo sharpshooters, who now start shooting in on the Crocscore Ancient again. The cohort of Sotek does pop Refusal to Die and jumps in on them, so they are going to be able to do some damage, but it's not going to be long before they get absolutely wiped out. Like, as soon as their ability is gone, they are totally dead. Meanwhile, the Teeth Breakers have crested the hill. Are they going to have enough time to fire a volley into these Crocscores, though, before they get absolutely torn to pieces? That's the real question of the day. It does look like... yep, they're going to get it. Oh, gosh. But it's not enough. The Cold-Blooded does bolster the Crocscore's leadership, and they are able to get in there. However, the Natty Bubo sharpshooters have managed to get away from any enemy units, and they're now firing in on the Crocscore Ancient. Oh god, he's going down, and down he goes. That last bullet being just the perfect amount to bring him down. So now the only leadership structure holding up the Lizardman army is the Skink Priest, who is doing his best to juke Natty Bubo sharpshooters. They are almost out of ammo. If they can run out of ammo and the Skink Priest is still alive, that might be enough to bolster the leadership army and keep them intact. But it's going to be a really hard time. There's a very good chance that the Greyseer still has some summons left up his sleeve. We do see the Chameleon Skinks here are going to engage the Poison Wing Blobadiers, which their armor is high enough and that they're probably not going to take terrible amounts of damage. But they have really little leadership right now because of how many models they've lost, and they shatter. All right, so they have shattered completely off the battlefield. The Warlock Engineer does get caught by the Lizardman, and his leadership breaks. He is terrified. The Skaven are out of ammo. Natty Bubo's sharpshooters do not have any more ammo, but we do see another summon comes onto the battlefield. So really, it's all down to this. It's just down to the Ark of Sotek. He gets a beautiful cast of his Serpent Swarm, which is going to do so much damage to all the scattered Skaven. The only thing really holding the Skaven army together anymore is the Greyseer. He is literally the only thing left. He does actually miscast there, dealing a pretty heavy... Wow, he did a ton of damage to himself. His casting ability of Scorch has a 50% chance to miscast, and he actually miscasts, dealing nearly a quarter of his own health to himself in damage. So that's actually a really bad luck moment for the Greyseer. The Greyseer is actually taking a beating, and the Bastillodon is now on top of him, doing his best to deal more damage. The Warlock Engineer is being chased off by Skinks and the Skink Priest, so the chance of him rallying is basically nil, and it's down to this! It's down to this! The Battle of Titans! You've got the Bastillodon versus the Greyseer in a one-on-one showdown of Big Chungus versus Big Chungus. Who's going to come out on top? It's really going to come down to this. If the Bastillodon dies, the Lizardmen just do not have a chance. Like, they have nothing that can deal with such a large target in close combat, and they are out of ammo. The Chameleon Skinks do show up just in time to provide some effort to help out the Bastillodon. He goes for a Scorch, and he does not miscast. It is a beautiful Scorch, and actually deals a significant amount of damage, but the Bastillodon counters with another wave of snakes. However, he is surrounded, so his leadership is very, very, very shaky. He's only got 800 health left. He needs reinforcements. He's all by his lonesome. We do see the Skink Priest is falling back, trying to get here so he can support the Bastillodon, but because he stopped chasing the Warlock Engineer has rallied, which is going to bolster up the Skaven line. Meanwhile, the Bastillodon is down to 500 health, and he breaks! Oh no, he breaks! And that's going to be the end of the match. The Skaven squeaking out that final victory and getting rid of the Bastillodon at long last. That Greyseer pulled a lot of weight. Though, man, that miscast on the Scorch nearly killed him. That miscast nearly doomed that rat. So in the post-battle screen, we can see that the Skaven on Screaming Bell got about a little over 1,000 gold in value, but that's purely from his damage. That doesn't take into account the massive leadership buff he was providing with his Clamoring Bells, and also the massive amount of summons he got off. He got at least one Dreaded 13th and probably like a good 5 or 6 units of Clan Rats. The Warlock Engineer was just there to bolster leadership. I didn't even see what happened to the Assassin. The Assassin got picked off super early. Most of the Skaven infantry, of course, got obliterated, as you do, though it looks like they did get some value fighting and engaging against various skinks. Both of the Poison Wind Globadiers got excellent value, one at 1100, another at 800. The Teeth Breakers got about 800 golden value, so they almost got their money's worth back. The Jezzails only got 8 kills, but got nearly 2,000 gold in value. Makes sense, as they were able to fully expend their ammo and did a ton of damage to all of the characters, including basically killing off the Crocscore Ancient from full to bottom. Both of the this unit of Wolf Rats looks like they got taken out pretty early, but were able to get a little bit of value in. This unit of Wolf Rats got a ton of kills and a ton of value, looking like they chased off a lot of units, which likely provided a pretty big crux at the end. Plague Claw Catapult did its job. I mean, obviously, this is a list where the Plague Claw Catapult isn't super useful because most of the targets are super cheap and also super fast. And the Rat Ogres did their job getting a lot of really good damage in. Meanwhile, on the Lijman side of things, we see the Crocscore Ancient got pretty good value. Unfortunately, he just wasn't able to survive long enough because he did get sniped out by just that grotesque amount of range fire. I think if he had been able to more effectively dodge or get away from the Natty Boobos, he absolutely would have been able to turn the game around. Skinks, of course, you know, did their job mostly as meat shields. Chameleon Skinks, wow, pretty big range of value there from 104. These guys obviously got picked off super early. Then these guys got more than their money's worth at 800, and then these guys performed extremely well at 1200. The Bastiladon, easily the MVP for the Lizardman side, came in with about 1700 gold of value. Those Serpent Swarms he spammed out, just getting awesome damage. The Crocscores all did pretty well. Both the Sacred Crocscores looks like got escorted out of the battlefield pretty early, but the regular Crocscores, who were part of the center and the flanks, performed exceptionally well. So really good game. Was very close. All right, and with that, we are on to the last battle of the quarterfinals. So if I go to here... There we go. It is Platypus versus Pedro. I wish I could roll my R's, but I can't. Let's go to... Galbaraz. Some great matches today. How classic is Kislev versus Khorne? Pretty classic. I mean, it's, you know, Kislev versus anybody from Chaos is a classic. Would I rather be a Skaven slave forever or stand next to Nurgle for 10 minutes? I would definitely take the next to Nurgle for 10 minutes because I would die very quickly and be done with it. Everybody doing all right? Keep Money, good to see you, dude. Which Warhammer race would be the best at basketball? Probably elves. I think elves would undeniably be the best. They're very tall, and they're very, like, agile and athletic. If you didn't like adjust the height of the baskets to make up for it, the ogres might be the best. Because the ogres could just, like, walk over and just, like, put it in. Andrew, did they really? Alright. Here we go. Make sure you're drinking water, chat. Yeah, there's no way we're gonna make the There is no way we're gonna make the Black Library live stream. That's a shame. I would have liked to have made it, but we're not going to. We've still got 3 games after this one, and they take on average somewhere between like 5 to 15 minutes, unless it's like a long game, in which case they can take up to 30 minutes. And we've only got 12 minutes left, so that's definitely not happening. That's okay though. I'll do a video with my reactions afterwards. Or I guess we could do a live stream of me going through the announcements. Maybe that would be fun. All right. So, let's check out these armies. Oh man, this is a classic dwarf build for this tournament style. This is painfully classic. So, leading with RTK Platypus representing his clan, we've got. Oh, they're both RTK. We got a clan civil war here. So, leading Platypus's army, and his only leadership is a Rune Lord on the Anvil of Doom, which I always love seeing the Anvil of Doom. He's got the Locust Power for that sweet, sweet magic resistance, and he's running every single rune and the Master Rune of Grugni. He is going all in with that Rune Lord. the classic pentagon, yeah. We've also got the Dragonback Slayers holding up the center of the formation. Then the entire front line is made up of Ironbreakers, including Norgrimling's Ironbreakers. 2 units of Dwarf Warriors are holding up the rear of the box. And Bookman's Rangers are here, the self-regenerating unit of Crossbowmen. And then just so many Gyrocopters. Just so many Gyrocopters. And they all have Brimstone guns. Oh wait, no, one doesn't. There's one with steam guns and the rest with Brimstone guns. That is a lot of pew-pew. Oh, Platypus is a she. Thank you. Thank you for the correction on that. I very much appreciate it. Well, I look forward to seeing what she does with this army. Look at me being all stupid and assuming everyone that plays this is a dude. I should check myself and think more openly. Anyway, over on the Skaven side, led by Kamba, Pedro, we've got the classic front line of 5 Skaven slaves. We've got a Gracier of Plague with the same build as last time. No, he's a little different. He's got the Warpstone Scroll. That could be problematic. He also has Vermintide, Dreaded 13th. I'm so happy to see how many people are taking Dreaded 13th these days. We've got 2 Warplock Jezzails, 3 units of Rat Ogres, 1 unit of Wolf Rats with Poison, 2 units of Poison Wind Globadiers, 3 units of Skaven Slaves with Spears. We've got the Council Guard, and then a Assassin with both of his items, the Rivalhide Talisman and whatever that other thing is. Gosh darn it, my throat is so, like, dry today. And then we've got a Plague Priest on a Plague Furnace running nothing. He's naked. He just showed up with the Plague Furnace. So, oh man, this is going to be a very interesting game. The Gyrocopters are more than capable of absolutely obliterating these big boys. However, the Jezzails are a hard counter to the Gyrocopters, and there are Poison Wind Globadiers who can help out, and the Gracier has the Warpstone Scroll, which if he uses the Warpstone Scroll, he can basically lock a flying unit in place that gets too close. So here we see that the great dodging has begun, with these Gyrocopters doing their best to avoid getting shot. However, the Skaven then change position and start firing in on these guys, getting a couple of hits before they begin the grand juking. And the grand contest has begun. The first Scorch goes down, doing a little bit of damage. The Gyrocopters have effectively surrounded the army, and now we see that... oh, beautiful Dreaded 13th. Unfortunately, the damage from the Dreaded 13th, not that great. The Dreaded oh, look at the timing on that! Look how good that was! Platypus activates the Master Rune of Negation exactly at the right time, which, coupled with his massive magic resistance, completely negated the damage from the Storm Vermin summon. That is one of the most hard-hitting spells to infantry that the Skaven have available, and it completely bounced off from that just absolutely beautiful counter. Meanwhile, over here, we do see that the Warpstone Scroll has been popped by the Skaven, and these guys are taking a fair amount of damage. though the Warplock Jezzails do seem to kind of be spinning in circles looking for a pick, they do need to bring these guys down while they have them locked, because if all these guys manage to effectively dodge them, and these guys get taken offline or shot or run out of ammo or something, it's going to be a really, really bad time. Meanwhile, we do see that the Storm Vermin with Sword and Shield did manage to deal a little bit of damage here across the line. Really nice volley coming in from the Poison Wind Globadiers. They're actually doing a really good job getting rid of Bugman's Rangers, but now they're getting their faces exploded. Meanwhile, over here, we do see another volley of Poison Wind Globadiers coming in on the Dragback Slayers and Northernling's Ironbreakers. They are a very, very good unit for dealing with a lot of these guys. However, they do deal magic damage. So the presence of the Rune Lord on his Anvil of Doom is actually going to help significantly mitigate the damage from the Poison Wind Globadiers, because it is magic damage. So there's an additional 25% reduction on top of the already innate magic resistance of the Dawi. Meanwhile, Platypus, she's just doing an absolutely fantastic job exploding her way across all sorts of parts of the Skaven line. We do see the Assassin is joined by the Plague Priest on the Plague Furnace, who engages against Norgumly's Ironbreakers. That is a very, very nasty combo. And, oh, look at this! Whoa! A simultaneous Scorch and Plague Breath cast? That was kind of cool looking. Oh, that was a Gyro Bomber. I'm stupid. I thought that was a steam gun, because I'm too stupid to count and see that there was only one model. So that was a Gyro Bomber who has broken and is fleeing from the battlefield. However, we do see that one of the Jezzail units has been knocked offline by a unit of gyrocopters. Platypus is doing a really, really good job controlling her resources. I do think she still has a very long and difficult battle ahead of her. And here we go. We see another summon coming down. But once again, Platypus counters with the Master Rune of Negation. So both times the Skaven tried to use Dreaded 13th to eviscerate the Dragonback Slayers and a group of Ironbreakers. Platypus expertly counters both casts with the Master Rune of Negation. The Skaven did not get any freebies. They're going to have to work hard for everything they want. However, we do see that the balance of power is significantly in favor of the Skaven, though it's likely being bolstered by this big summon of elite troops. And it looks like Platypus is trying to last long enough to get rid of this, though she is bringing in a lot of those gyrocopters now that they've dealt with the Jezzails. They are rallying back to the front line, hopefully so they can start mowing down this Plague Priest. They need to get the Plague Priest off the battlefield. Meanwhile, we do see that the Poison Wind Globadiers are getting lots and lots of damage in on the Ironbreakers. However, they are also doing a significant amount of friendly fire, eviscerating a lot of these Skaven slaves, which of course, you know, who cares, which Skaven slaves. Another really nice Plague Breath goes down, doing some pretty good damage to the Ironbreakers. We do see that Bugman's Rangers are trying their hardest not to break. They are exhausted though. They're very tired, don't have a lot of ammo left, but they are regenerating. However, they're about to eat a rear charge, so they're probably not long for this world. So Norgumly's Ironbreakers and Bugman's Rangers have been completely taken offline. Another unit of Ironbreakers has been broken. The Dwarf Warriors have been broken. The last unit of Ironbreakers is about to be broken. Platypus has had a lot of really masterful plays this game, but I don't know if she has the tools left to just deal with these really, really big things. Like, not only does she need to get rid of this unit of Poison Wind Globadiers, but then she also has to mow down a Plague Priest and a Grey Seer and at least a single nearly full health unit of Rat Ogres and one that's almost at half health. And all of her units are broken and running, and there's just a ton of Skaven left to chase. I really don't think that Platypus is going to be able to turn this around. I mean, the only stable part of her army left is literally just the Rune Lord and the Dragonback Slayers. So, like, man, there's just so little left for her to deal with just an obscene amount of troops. Looks like she does manage to rally. Oh, okay. Some people are starting to rally. Norgumly's Ironbreakers are back in action. Regular Ironbreakers are back in action. The Skaven have committed fully on the Dragback Slayers and are doing their best to get rid of them. However, the Rune Lord, it might be too little too late for him. He's doing his best to hold out against just an obscene amount of pressure There is a massive amount of firepower coming in for the gyrocopters, but it looks like with their generals so deeply under attack, that's going to kick army losses. And oh, Platypus, she played so well. She had so many masterful counterplays using her runes to like high effectiveness, and she just didn't have the width she needed in her army to just deal with the massive swarms of Skaven. That was a really, really good game, but Combo Pedro's list, I think, just was too much for the Dawi. There was just too much of a counter between the Giselles and the Poison Wind Globadiers, especially the Globadiers. The Globadiers were able to just nickel and dime those Iron Breakers over a long period of time, and the Dawi just did not have an effective way to deal with them, while also dealing with the Giselles, while also dealing with the really, really big monsters. So, great game to both players. Platypus, she played it super duper well, but unfortunately I just don't think she was able to effectively deal with so many threats. Like, you can see her, none of the values that she had were able to get above 1,000, and I think it's just because the army was so wide. Meanwhile, over for Combo Pedro, we see that he really didn't get any value on any of the slaves. But, oh yeah, look at that dude. The Globadiers came in 2,000 gold with that unit. Almost 1,000 with that one. 1,000 value with the Giselles despite 0 kills. Another 1,000 despite 0 kills because they were just shooting up the gyrocopters and the gyro bomber and also hurting like Bugman's Rangers and stuff. And the Rat Ogres did their job of providing fear and just messing up like intact battle lines. Really good game. Really good game. 85 value on the Rune Lord. Well, that's because he wasn't doing much damage. But the Rune Lord provided just an obscene amount of damage mitigation. Like, the Gracier got off 2 beautiful casts, or what should have been beautiful casts, of his Dreaded 13th, and both of them bounced. Alright, let's go to the Pillar of Bone. P for Pillar. Alright, so we are in to the semifinals. Misha, thanks for redeeming a lore fact. They're now very expensive? Yes. Yes, they are. Did the Skaven ever meet armies on the field like this lore-wise? Oh yeah, the Skaven engage in open battle all the time. Like, their tunnels don't necessarily go everywhere they need them to go. And a lot of the time, they have to like go over ground in certain areas. Alright, so let's do Hadries versus Human Boy. So we've got another Lizardman versus Skaven showdown. The Bone Zone. Into the Bone Zone. But yeah, the Skaven engage in battle all the time on the overworld. Wow, they entered at the same time. Ominous. Now, don't get me wrong, the Skaven much prefer fighting underground, but unless they're fighting like greenskins or Dawi or someone's trying to like root them out, most of the time they fight on the overworld. On the surface. Am I going to make a video about the teaser of Total War Warhammer 3? Yes, later today. Why is the lore fact is now that expensive? I'll explain everything later on. Plus, let's be real, like the lore fact is not there because that's the only reason only way I'll answer lore facts. It's there so that if chat ever gets to the point where it's so busy that I can't just casually keep up with it, that you could still get lore questions in and I'll see it. It's really not super useful at this moment, but we will get around to all that later on. All right, let's head into the next game. All right, next showdown. Lore facts about lore facts. They make my voice hurt. All right, so we've already seen these armies, but just as a reminder, in case you have missed it, For Hadries, he's got the big Welcome to Lustria build. He's got a skirmish line of 4 chameleon skinks. He's got a very nasty, fast-paced group of 4 feral cold ones. We've also got Nakai leading the battle with his perfect vigor aura and the miasma of despair. Also a skink priest of heavens with Urian's thunderbolt and harmonic convergence. Then we've got a Bastildon with the revivification crystal, and the Shredder of Lustria being the big boy. And then, of course, the cohort Sotek, which make just a really nice, unbreakable centerline unit. Meanwhile, on the Skaven side of things, we've got the Plague Claw Catapult, which is going to allow the Skaven to say, hey, you have to come to me. We've also got Natty Boobo Sharpshooters, ROR, the Teeth Breakers, ROR, the Rattling Guns, 2 units of Wolf Rats with Poison, 2 units of Rat Ogres, 5 units of Clan Rats with Spears, 2 units of Skaven Slaves with Spears, 1 unit of regular Skaven Slaves, 2 units of Poison Wing Globadiers. We've got a Warlock Engineer on foot who just has the Howling Warp Gale, the Assassin with both of his debuff abilities, and then a Gracier of Plague with just his... he's got both of his summon spells and Pestilent Breath. And with that, we're ready to begin with AR. Check Discord. Checking Discord. Oh, yep. Hold on, that's fine. Goodness, I got some, like, caught weirdly. Alright, it looks like we're already up for some interesting plays here right at the beginning. Shredder of Lustria is starting in a very, very clever spot. Likely because he doesn't want to get donked on the head. But we'll have to see how this goes. Is the Shredder of Lustria the most powerful beast in Warhammer? That's playable? Yes. Got a frog in my throat? Yeah, it feels that way. Is there a bracket? There is. I'll post it after this game. Alright, so the match has begun, and we see that already the chameleon skinks were cleverly deployed behind the Skaven army, but the Skaven were ready for them. And those wolf rats are going to just slam into these chameleon skinks and absolutely rip them to pieces. The chameleon skinks were bold, but in their boldness, they made a terrible mistake. So the chameleon skinks are going to have a really hard time escaping from this situation, and we already see that a massive amount of fire is flying across the battlefield as the lizardmen realize, oh crap, we need to get in there right now. Here are the Teeth Breakers. Oh my gosh! Look at the deeps! The Teeth Breakers knocking off at least 1,000... No, like, yeah, 2,000 damage in that volley. Oh my gosh! Oh gosh! The Shredder of Lustria is already down to like half health from the just obscene amount of fire coming in. Oh my gosh! Oh, he's taking so much damage! The Lizardmen have to shut down the Teeth Breakers right now. In goes Nakai doing his damnedest to make sure that gets done. We see the Shredder of Lustria is just powering through all these Skaven, not giving a damn. And the Teeth Breakers are down. We do see the Teeth Breakers have broken. They are terrified. However, they will need to be shattered, or else when they come back, they will immediately kill the Shredder of Lustria. He is starting to get heals in, but the Lizardmen have essentially been brutally forced to overextend themselves. That being said, the Shredder of Lustria and his Wombo combo, along with Nakai's leadership debuff, has effectively broken off most of the Skaven army, and they're pretty close to the edge of the battlefield, so they do need to be careful. Here we see that Nakai does look like he's trying to chase after the Teeth Breakers, but he is being intercepted by a lot of enemy troops. Meanwhile, the Skaven have completely and utterly annihilated most of the Lizardmen army, and ooh, yeah, this is rough for the Lizardmen. Like, they came in really, really aggressive, but even with the Teeth Breakers maybe out of commission, if Nakai can get them all the way off the battlefield, you still have Natty Boo Sharpshooters who are easily firing into the Shredder of Lustria and doing like 500 to 1,000 damage per volley. And he's completely surrounded, and there's an assassin coming in for debuffs. and there are Poison Wind Globadiers able to fire in. Yeah, I just don't see a way Nakai can turn this around. I think, like, he went in with a really, really bold counterplay using the Chameleon Skinks to try and take off the ranged units right at the beginning. But unfortunately for him, the Wolf Rats were ready. Yep, down he goes. Oh, my heart. The Shredder of Lustria has been slain. The only thing left on the battlefield now is Nakai and the Bastillodon with the Revivification Engine. We do see that over here the Teethbreakers have rallied. The only thing down here is the Skink Priest, who's being swarmed by Clan Rats with spears. And with the Shredder of Lustria gone, army losses is going to kick in, and that is game. Oh, brutal. Absolutely brutal. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there was not a lot that the Lizardmen were going to be able to do there. That was a very hard counter build to them. And the Teethbreakers just got in an obscene amount of damage before they were able to be taken offline, getting almost 2,000 gold in value. Zale's got 1,300 in value. Wolfrat's got a ton of value by eviscerating all the Chameleon Skinks. Rat Ogres took a fair bit of damage. Globadiers both got good value, and basically nothing else did. That was a brutally fast game. GG to both players. Absolutely loved Hadries' build, but unfortunately was just absolutely oof. Just oof. Alright, heading into the next game, the last of the semifinals, which, by the way, here is the bracket for anyone that requires it. We got Kemba Pedro versus J Phoenix going into our last game. Not last game, second to last game. We potentially could have a Skaven mirror match going into the finals as well. Actually, never mind. We already have a Skaven mirror match, don't we? Yes, it's literally just going to be Skaven from here on out. It is, chat, it is the day of the rat. Hold on, I got to change the map. Let's go to... Oh, wait, no, I already picked that for this tournament, didn't I? Oh, that'll work. Valley of Thieves. Valley. Nope. There it is. Alright, so we've got Clan Molder going up against Clan Moors. Who's going to come out on top, chat? Mr. Pig. What's with all the Skaven? Just people wanting to play Skaven today. Bretonia won 2 weeks ago, and Skaven are winning this week, undeniably. It's just a matter of which Skaven. Wait, it's all Skaven? Always has been. Alright, so let's start with Clan Molder here. So Clan Molder is being led by Throt the Unclean, who's coming in with Remoldered and his summon for extra Rat Ogres. He's got 3 units of basic Rat Ogres, 1 unit of Wolf Rats with Poison, 2 units of Warplock Jezzails, 2 units of Poison Wind Globadiers. We've got 1, 2, 3... No, we got 2 units of Clan Rats with Spears, 1 unit of regular Clan Rats, and then 3 units of Skaven Slaves with Spears, 2 units of regular Skaven Slaves, and a Plague Priest with both Vermintide and Pestilent Birth. Meanwhile, on the Clan Moors side, we have 3 units of Rat Ogres, 1 unit of Wolf Rats with Poison. It's almost like they have very similar builds. 2 units of Warplock Jezzails, 2 units of Poison Wind Globadiers. However, there is a little bit of a difference here. We've got an Assassin who's running the Rival Hide Talisman and the Assassin's Trophy. We've also got the Plague Furnace that's naked. A Gracier of Plague with his 2 summon powers in the Warpstone Scroll. We've got, and then for the front line, we've got 5 units of Skaven Slaves, and then 3 Spears. And that should be it. Are Skaven Brood Horrors a thing? Yes. That's a Brood Horror. Right there. Does Clan Moors have anything to do with Moor the God? No. just similar names. Thank you for the stretch redeem. Oh. Oh gosh. A lot of bones shifting back into place there. Ah, there we go. Sitting up straight. All right. Oh, I see what you're talking about. I'm going to move myself to this side. That way, when I do this, y'all can actually see things. What did you miss? Well, we're in the semifinals now, and the only thing left are Skaven. It's just Skaven for days. Alright, when these guys are ready, we will head into it. So, pretty much the only difference between these two armies is that Pedro's army has the double big lad. The Plague Furnace and the Screaming Bell. He's got much more of a hero dense build. Thrott's build is augmented, I think, more by... Well, actually, they're so similar. They both have Plague Summons, except for this one's on the Gracier and that one's on the Plague Priest. He has Throt the Unclean on a Brood Horror, but he's going up against a Plague Furnace, a Screaming Bell, and the Council Guard, providing physical resistance. But they both have double Warlock Jezzails, they both have 3 Rat Ogres, they both have double Poison Wind Globadiers, and they both have just a ass ton of slaves and clan rats. So the Skaven Civil War has begun. So here we already see that the Jezzails are going to get a pretty healthy volley into Throt, but he is doing his best to do the jitterbug and dodge as much as he can, getting in those jukes. And that seems mainly to be what he is attempting to do right now, is just draw out fire from the enemy. The counter battery has begun. Jezzails shooting Jezzails. Looks like Throt does run in and procs a summon from the Clan Moors. Doesn't seem terribly bothered by it. Throt is being exceptionally bold right now. Oh! That's why. Throt immediately comes in, summons a unit of Rat Ogres who just start ground pounding like they're Donkey Kong onto the Jezzails, who are going to get obliterated by friendly fire from the Poison Wind Globadiers. The Poison Wind Globadiers doing pretty much more damage to friendly units than they are to enemy units. Throt the Unclean now going in on the Gracier, though I imagine he's going to fall back soon. Over here, we do see a counterplay by the Gracier, who uses Dreaded 13th to summon Storm Vermin onto the Warlock Jezzails. Though they themselves get counter-summoned by the Plague Monk summon. So we do see that there's quite a bit of magical trade going on here. Jezzails are firing into one another. The summoned Rat Ogres have been defeated, but they were able to chase off a full Jezzail unit for their efforts, which is great. A Scorch goes down here, slicing through a couple units, and this unit of Warlock Jezzails has been broken, but they're going to be followed very quickly by the summoned Storm Vermin. I feel like things here are going to get very hectic very quick. Ooh, very, very nice pick from Clan Moors. They do manage to isolate the Council Guard and are now starting to fire into them with a significant amount of fire from the Poison Wing Globadiers. They just need to make sure not to do too much damage to their own troops, but that is going to be really, really good if they can get such an elite unit off the board sooner rather than later. Meanwhile, we do see that both Skaven armies are slowly but surely starting to converge. Council Guard are almost to about half health. The remaining flanks are basically just trading missile fire at this point. There are bullets and glass vials of poisonous gas just flicking back and forth between both sides. Plague Priest is advancing over here. The Plague Furnace is advancing over here. We do see that the General of the Skaven has lost about 25% of his health. Throt just duels the assassin briefly before deciding, never mind, I'm going to fall back, and he starts heading away. Perfect time, actually. He does get hit with Assassin's Trophy, but he's no longer near anything that can punish him for it. So as long as Throt doesn't allow himself to get surrounded here in a second, he really should be okay. The Assassin's Trophy is about 50% being done. We do see a Plague Breath goes down, dealing awesome damage to all of these. Oh, wait, no. He Plague Furnace his own god. Or was that a... I think that was from the Plague Furnace, but he Plague Breathed his own guys, it looked like. I will say the balance of power is dead even at 50-50 right now. We do see Throt the Unclean is a little isolated. He does get the Rival Hide Talisman popped on him so that he really can't hit anything. So he starts falling back. And over here, we're going to have a really good Dreaded 13th. Boom! That deals some really, really good damage, getting rid of a summoned unit of Plague Monks and also summoning some Storm Vermin who will probably be hopping onto these Poison Wing Globadiers. Meanwhile, over here, we do see that the Plague Furnace is down to almost 50% health. The Warplock Jezzails are still exchanging fire on both sides of the field. However, things are looking, I think, a little bit better for Clan Moulder than Clan Moors. Clan Moors is being held up mostly by summons at this point because they do have that very, very expensive summon up here. A very good Scorch, though, going down, getting rid of a ton of these Skaven, and it's going to be causing almost this entire line of Clan Moulder Skaven to break off. Throt, though, is healing up very, very quickly thanks to his amazing regeneration. And he comes flying in here to start bullying this assassin, probably doing what he can to get him off the field. Because we all know that Skaven are just the ultimate bullies. Meanwhile, though, it looks like Clan Moulder has done a better job than Clan Moors when it comes to, which, just a reminder, Clan Moors is red with Pedro, and Clan Moulder is kind of the yellowish, or like the cream color with J Phoenix. It looks like Phoenix has done a better job of protecting his ranged units and also keeping them close to the battle. We see he has both of his units of Poison Wind Globadiers still firing into the battle. This summoned unit almost gets on these guys before just collapsing dead. And he's got like a really nice firing line now of these Jezzails backed up by these Poison Wind Globadiers. Meanwhile, Throt is doing a good job keeping them protected. We do see that the Plague Priest is now substantially below half health. Also, this assassin is getting ripped apart by both this Plague Priest and his Rat Ogre bodyguard. Meanwhile, Throt is protecting this entire flank by himself, and I will say that I do think things have swung significantly in favor of Clan Moulder. Clan Moors has rallied a couple of shooting units together, but he has no more Warlock Jezzails. He is out of Jezzails. All he has left now is this one unit. We do see that Throt the Unclean does go in on the Greyseer, but he does get countered by a full health unit of Rat Ogres, and he's now getting shot in the butt. It is a triple sandwich of damage, and Throt his leadership just immediately plummets, but he scurries the hell out of there like the rat he is. The Plague Furnace has collapsed and exploded. It is no longer with us. Rip in chat. I'm sure that Plague Furnace had a family that's going to miss him dearly. Meanwhile, we do see another Scorch coming down, but it's going to mostly miss Warlock Jezzails. Their leadership is a little shaky, but they are now firing into the Screaming Bell. And overall, things are looking a little messy. The balance of power is slightly in favor of Clan Moulder under J Phoenix, but he does have a couple of nasty targets running around still, most notably that full health unit of Rat Ogres, which is buoying up his Greyseer and keeping him healthy and out of too nasty of situations. We do see here that most of Clan Moulder's shooting now has been disabled by this unit of Rat Ogres. They are being pursued by Throt the Unclean, who will be able to tear them apart, but it might be too little too late. He's losing a lot of units in the time it's taking him to mop that up. Over here, though, he does manage to secure this right flank. All of his units over here have rallied and are charging back into the fray, and he is doing his best to get rid of these Poison Wing Globadiers. Over here, we do see that the Assassin gets off the Assassin's Trophy on the Plague Priest and is running his ass down. And if that Plague Priest goes down, that's going to mean absolutely no more magic for Clan Molder under J Phoenix, which is going to be a rough time for him if they get into a final phase of a summon fight. However, the Plague Priest almost gets saved by Throt. Oh, Throt doesn't manage to knock him away. He hurts him, but he doesn't knock him over, and he really needs to knock him over. Oh, there it goes. Wipeout. So the Assassin has now been dealt with, but Throt is isolated and alone. No one stands with him, and he's about to get sandwiched between two units of Rat Ogres. The Rat Ogres are coming in alongside their Screaming Bell, but it looks like they are going to have to slightly detour to deal with those 7 Globadiers. Meanwhile, we do see Clan Molder is mopping up the center of the battlefield and is starting to make his way back. He has quite a few units that have rallied that he really needs to get back. Like, if he could get back these Wolf Rats, that would be such a big pick for him. Because the problem Phoenix is having right now is chasing off fleeing units. He just doesn't have a lot of great targets left. We do see here that his one of his last units of Rat Ogres has shattered, but he is getting in some nice volley fire from these guys, who are then immediately hit with a Scorch, which is going to do some leadership damage. The Plague Priest, though, rallies just in the nick of time, summoning the Rohirrim of Skaven and summoning in a whole bunch of Clan Rats to help bolster Throt the Unclean. But, oh, Throt breaks! Throt has broken, and he is running. The Plague Priest is broken. He is running. That is the entire leadership structure of Clan Molder completely shut down. He needs to get these characters to rally, or else he's in for a really bad time. Meanwhile, Clan Molder is doing their best to mop up the rest of the battlefield. Clan Morris has a very nice Death Star going right now, though. However, Throt the Unclean, being exceedingly fast on that Brood Horror, does manage to rally. And thanks to his rally, he is, of course, healing constantly thanks to his regeneration, which is really, really nice, and is doing everything he can to stabilize his leadership. The Greyseer does seem to be trying to do his best to protect himself, but he actually took quite a bit of damage being chased by these summoned Clan Rats, which is likely why he summoned his own unit to protect him. We do see that the Plague Priest is being escorted off the battlefield. The Wolf Rats have been noticed and are charging back into the battle. Meanwhile, if we kind of take like a full scope of the battle, looks like Clan Molder has rallied together what's left of his forces, being some Clan Rats with spears, which are going to be vital in this final battle. A unit of Rat Ogres and these Wolf Rats. So he actually has a very nice variety of troops left to help support him. However, his Wizard is gone, so he doesn't have any more summons. We do see Throt with his Terror is going to just immediately terrify these guys, and they're gone. They might rally later, but they're probably not going to make it back in time to the fight. We do see the Rat Ogres here are chasing off the Plague Priest, who's got 53 health left. However, it looks like both sides are rallying for the final battle, the last great charge of our age. Skaven Slaves with Spears here are guiding off these Poison Wing Globadiers. That's, of course, a great pick. And it looks like these Wolf Rats with Poison are going to... Oh, nope, they thought about it. It looked like they were going to beeline these Rat Ogres, but decided better not. Oh, nope, now they're going back in again. These guys do have very low leadership. They're definitely going to want that counter charge. If they don't get that counter charge to get at least some value, they're going to get ripped to pieces. Yeah, no, they're going to get ripped to pieces. Over here, we do see that the Rat Ogres are trying to find a place, but unfortunately they're not able to support their friends, so they take a pretty nasty amount of damage. Scorch goes down, which unfortunately doesn't really connect super well. We do see that the final unit of Rat Ogres commits to the fight, but oh no, they're going to get rear charged by the Wolf Rats, who have really, really good damage, and they absolutely shred this light unit of Rat Ogres. The only thing left is the Greyseer, and he's completely isolated. All the troops that are left are so far away, and now he's got Throt the Unclean on him, who has an obscene amount of armor piercing and is just very, very good against large targets. And that is game. So Throt the Unclean comes out on top, smashing down the arrogant Greyseers and claiming victory. Looking at the post-battle screen real quick, Throt the Unclean came out with a very healthy 1,400 gold. Of course, on both sides, I would say their slaves and Clan Rats did absolutely nothing other than like slap into each other. We see that the Death Runners got an obscene amount of kills, over 100 kills each, but not a lot of value, so they were mostly wasted against low value targets. Globadiers on both sides did extremely well. This one came out with 700 gold value. This one with 2,300. Over here, they came out with 400 and 500. Actually, you know what? Yeah, you can see it there. You can see it there. And then 700 and 500 for the Giselles. Meanwhile, over here, you got 800 and 700 for the Giselles. So we could see that this Globadier unit was the one Globadier unit that really managed to squeak through and just got an obscene amount of damage and value in this game. And I really think was probably one of the major determining factors. As far as like the Rat Ogres go, both sides got almost equivalent value. Both had a unit of Rat Ogres that got taken out pretty early. Actually, Pedro seems to have gotten much better value with his Rat Ogres overall. With two of them being 1,400 in value and another one being half that, while Phoenix only got 700 and 500 value with two of his. So two of his vastly underperformed, and then he had one unit that did better than any of Pedro's. So it was a very, very interesting game. Practically a mirror match, except for a couple of subtle things. We do see that the Gracier actually got quite a bit of excellent value at 1,500. The Plague Furnace came in at about 700. The Assassin came in at nearly 1,000. So the Hero Bus actually did very, very well for itself, but unfortunately they just weren't able to secure the Globadier advantage. To me, I really think that's what it came down to, is who came out on top when it comes to Globadiers. And the answer was Phoenix, so he was able to come out on top. So, a great match, and now we are on to the finale, which is going to be J Phoenix versus Human Boy Yes Yes in the final mirror match of today. And let's take the fight to... What's a map that's similar to what we've been doing? What about Carrick Ungor? Yep, that'll work. Alright, chat, we are heading in to the final battle. And just a reminder that the winner of this game will be walking away with $50 from yours truly. Now let's get straight into it. Seems they're trying to summon Legend with all these Skaven. Maybe. That's great. Have I seen the new Warhammer 3 tease? I am aware of it. I have not had time to look at it today. How am I right now? My throat hurts. Alright, this is the final for today's tournament. So let's start with the victor from last game. We've got... There he is. J Phoenix leading Clan Molder against Clan Ashen under Human Boy Yes Yes. So, we've got, for J Phoenix, 3 units of Rat Ogres, 1 unit of Wolf Rats with Poison, 2 units of Death Runners, 2 units of Clan Rats with Spears, 1 regular unit of Clan Rats, 3 units of Skaven Slaves with Spears, 2 units of regular Skaven Slaves, a Plague Priest with both summon spells, Pestilent Birth and Vermintide, which allows him to summon either Plague Monks or Clan Rats respectively, 2 units of Warplock Giselles, 2 units of Poison Wing Globadiers, and then Throt the Unclean is leading this menagerie with Remoldered and Beast Pack. Meanwhile, on Clan Ashen's side, led by Human Boy Yes Yes, we've got a Plague Claw Catapult, the Teeth Breakers Rattling Gun, Natty Bubo Sharpshooters, Warlock Giselle Regiment of Renown. We've got 5 units of Skaven Slave... Wait, no. We've got 2 units of Clan Rats with Spears. And then... no, 3 units of Clan Rats with Spears. Yes. 1 unit of Clan Rats. 2 units of Slaves with Spears. No! 4 units of Skaven... Okay. 4 units Clan Rats with Spears. 1 unit regular Clan Rats. 3... whatever. Skaven Slaves with Spears. We've got 2 units of Wolf Rats with Poison, 2 units of Rat Ogres, a Warlock Engineer who just has Howling Warp Gale, which won't be useful in this battle, an Assassin who has the rival, Assassin's Trophy and Rival Hat Talisman, and then a Gracier of Plague who has the Summon spells. He has Dreaded 13th and Vermintide, and then he also has Pestilent Breath. Here we go. Almost out of water. And then I swallow it down the wrong tube like an idiot. Ugh. There's no fantasy or AOS books today, only 40k? Really? Not a single AOS or fantasy reveal? In that case, I'm probably not even going to cover it. Alright, the game has begun. Plague Claw Catapult surges across the battlefield and gets a beautiful first volley, taking out 28 reps. Really, not a single one. Dude, Black Library is so full of garbage. Like, Black Library needs to rename themselves. It's purely a 40k publication now. It has been for a long time, but it's like, Jesus, I'm sick of it. Alright, so Throt the Unclean is actually taking a pretty obscene amount of damage, and he is not liking it. His leadership goes way, way, way down. But we do see that when the Teethbreakers get revealed by shooting, they actually start getting counter-fired by the Warplock Jezzails, which deal a substantial amount of damage to them. They do fall back, though, and their Concealment Bomb should make them safe for now. Alright, so Clan Molder is now moving into position to begin the battle proper. Warlock Jezzails, because the Teethbreakers rely on their Concealment Bombs, they're actually not hidden when the Concealment Bombs are not active. So they are once again revealed and are starting to take damage again, which they have like 0 protection against Warlock Jezzails, and you can see because they're already taking just so much damage. Meanwhile, the Plague Claw Catapult is trading fire with the Warplock Jezzails. Not a bad trade, actually. Warplock Jezzails do have silver shields, which means that they're very good against small arms fire, but they have no protection against like artillery type fire. We do see Throt the Unclean is knocked down to almost half health. He does pop Remoldered on himself for a bigger super heal. Meanwhile, we do have, he summons a unit of Rat Ogres. Oh, and a very nice play there, because he's actually going to get a full surround on these Rat Ogres and should be able to deal with them very, very effectively. Meanwhile, we do see that a lot of Throt's army has surrounded his enemy. A really nice Scorch going down from the Gracier, which is going to deal quite a bit of death to the Death Runners, who do not have much protection against magical damage. Death Runners and Skaven Slayers are trying to shoot through the front line. I'm not exactly sure why Clan Molder is playing so defensively with all of his melee infantry right now. It really feels like he should be committing everything he has, because I think he actually has Human Boy Yes Yes outnumbered on that particular scale. Over here, we do see that Throt the Unclean is basically back up to full health, doing what he does best, being a nuisance and drawing out enemy positions. And he does break off that unit of Wolf Rats and Rat Ogres, but unfortunately isn't able to pursue them with really anything that he has available right now. He does punch through the front line, and it looks like he's going for these Globadiers, though he is going to have to be careful because those Teethbreakers do see him coming, but he sees them and immediately pops one of them. So Teethbreakers are immediately under attack from him, and already we see that the army of Human Boy Yes Yes is deeply saturated by enemy troops. Meanwhile, J Phoenix actually has a ton of units in reserve who are still max health and are doing their job well. We see that Throt the Unclean does manage to jump onto the Gracier, who's completely isolated. That Gracier needs to get the hell out of there as quickly as he can. He's down to half health. He's taking shots from 2 units of Jezzails, and Throt the Unclean is just slapping him in the butt over and over and over, which is something he does specialize in with that weird kinky gear of his. Meanwhile, though, over here we do see that the units that Throt dealt with earlier and did not pursue have actually rallied and are tearing into the flank of J Phoenix's army, but they are being focused upon by sustained fire. They may be able to get into this unit of Jezzails, which would be a really, really good pick, but I don't think they're going to make that. Over here, we do see that J Phoenix's Poison Wind Globadiers are firing into this larger horde of troops, trying to deal some pretty good damage. However, they themselves are getting hit by Poison Wind Gas, which is not a good time for them. Things have stabilized overall on the battlefield for Clan Eshin. Human Boy Yes Yes is actually gaining in the balance of power, likely due to the fact that he has such a strong leadership structure that's still intact, and he also has that Plague Claw Catapult, which is slowly but surely dealing with all the Warplock Jezzails, getting them off the battlefield. And he also has a pretty nice little situation here. both of his Poison Wind Globadier units set up very, very nicely and are getting in tons of damage. This assassin actually did a good job luring in a lot of enemy troops and then getting those enemy troops absolutely obliterated by that Poison Wind Globadier friendly unit. Meanwhile, Throth the Unclean has reached his healing cap, or just about. He is no longer going to be healing in any substantial amount. We do see that the Skaven Assassin is nearly on death's door, but in all the time he's been getting focused on, these Globadiers have been able to take out the enemy Globadiers. Shouldn't Globadiers be immune to other Globadiers? Nah, Skaven equipment is way too shabby for that. Over here, we do see that the Throth the Unclean is trying to take out one of these units while his Rat Ogres engages the other, but they are going to take a lot of damage for their trouble. And there also is a Clan Rat with Spear units coming in on him, which are more than capable of dealing pretty nasty damage to a Brood Horror, as Brood Horrors are not particularly well known for their armor. Though Throth is a little more healthy than the usual groups. We see that a Plague Priest is getting down some summons to get on the Poison Wind Globadiers to take them offline, and it looks like J Phoenix is actually having a lot of really good success with that. Both of his Poison Wind Globadier units are now either occupied or have been shut down, at least for the moment, and the balance of power has swung back to about 50-50. Over here, we do see that J Phoenix's Globadiers do get in a nice counter volley. There is a Warlock Engineer here who is helping bolster the leadership. Really nice volley in there from the Siege. Natty Bubo Sharpshooters have rallied, and we see that Human Boy Yes Yes has actually consolidated his army into a really nice situation here, which is allowing him to be firing in volleys and protect these vulnerable troops. But Clan Molder is also starting to rally into a much more aggressive force that is just starting to push through everything around it and is slowly but surely making its way towards the Skaven of Clan Eshin. However, they do have a couple of neat little tricks left, most notably Natty Bubos and a single unit of Poison Wind Globadiers, even though they're both at very, very low model count. And oh, look at that! He actually rallies another unit of Poison Wind Globadiers. If these Globadiers manage to come back into the battle... Oh, nope, Throth noticed them. So Throth's going to go pick off this last... Maybe? Okay, nope, he's running away now. That last unit of Globadiers could actually make a substantial impact on the battlefield. We do see that it looks like a spell gets used by the Gracier of Plague, or I think he actually rang his bell, which does have a chance to miscast, and he did actually miscast and hurt himself a little bit. Not a lot, but a little. Down here, we do see that the entire army for... Oh, this could be it. This could definitely be it. Throth goes in to try and bully, but he completely overextends himself. He is not able to bully. His leadership is broken, and with that, there's only the Plague Priest, who is also on the cusp of being broken, holding together this army. It looks like he is building up magic for a spell. But he's not getting it off. I'm not sure what he's doing. He's trying to cast something. A massive amount of the Clan Eshin army does break and also runs away as things are getting full hectic here. Oh, he tries to go out for a summon, but he doesn't get it in time. Oh, he keeps getting knocked over. He can't cast because he's being knocked over. Throth does rally. You can hear the summons from the Plague Priest. He's trying so hard to get a spell off, and the Gracier's just like, no, not on my watch, not today. Oh my gosh, I really thought that was it for the game, but it's still going. We do see that the Plague Priest is no longer being chased. However, Clan Eshin has rallied together a substantial amount of shooting. Natty Bubo Sharpshooters are taking pot shots at Throth the Unclean, and the Gracier unleashes the dreaded 13th. Which the dreaded 13th is going to give him a big old unit of Storm Vermin with halberds that's going to heavily bolster the balance of power in his favor, but it is being immediately countered by the Plague Priest over here, who summons with Pestilent Birth a unit of Plague Monks, who are very, very nasty high damage units. However, there is a full unit, not a full unit, but a unit of Globadiers waiting for them, who's immediately going to throw into them and start dealing some substantial damage. We do see that Throth the Unclean once again is broken, and he shatters, and that is game! Human Boy Yes Yes is going to cinch victory with Clan Eshin. A great game from both players. Looking at the post-battle results here, we see the Gracier didn't actually get... He got a ton of kills, but not a lot of damage. But those massive amount of kills do help out significantly for getting rid of a lot of the chaff. And he also did, I think, bring in superior summons. He had Arcane Conduit, so he was able to generate a lot more magic for himself. And by generating a lot more magic for himself, he was able to get more summons off, which helped him substantially in the battle. His assassin also did really, really nicely at dealing substantial damage to certain targets or holding people down so that then the Globadiers could get some good picks in. And just like what happened with last battle, he who controls the Globadiers is he who wins. As we see that Jay Phoenix got 1,200 and 200 with his 2 units value respectively. Meanwhile, Human Boy got 1,300 and 1,600 with his 2 units respectively. And this unit just mowed down a substantial amount of Jay Phoenix's army. We do see the Teeth Breakers got in quite a bit of damage on Throt, but ultimately weren't able to get any big value outside of that. Natty Boopo Sharpshooters got in almost 1,500 gold value, which is really, really strong. Meanwhile, Jay Phoenix also got a single unit in at 1,500 gold value, which is pretty good. And then 500 gold value on one of his smaller units. But I actually think the Plague Claw Catapult played a substantial role in this game because it was able to just kind of hang out in the back. It got almost 1,000 gold in value just dealing with a lot of these Warplock Giselles and just getting like free shots because it stayed unengaged for a substantial amount of the battle and was able to just keep firing and firing and firing and really allowed Human Boy Yes Yes to deal a significant amount of damage very, very quickly without being effectively countered. Meanwhile, Throt the Unclean came out with 1,300 value. He did a really, really good job, but Human Boy Yes Yes did have excellent micro to ensure that anytime Throt tried to really commit, especially in the end game, to finishing off his Grayseer, he immediately got swarmed by a ton of nasty troops who did a substantial amount of damage to him, would force him to break off each time. Other than that, both the Death Runners got wiped out pretty hard. This one only got 260 gold value despite their high kills. This one got 702 gold value, so luckily they caught a couple Rat Ogre picks. But ultimately, Clan Esh and Human Boy Yes Yes was able to come out on top. I will be reaching out to him to make sure he gets his $50 prize, and that is going to be the end of today's tournament. So thank you all so much for joining me today, and I hope you all had a good time. I can tell my voice is totally shot and is going to be for quite a substantial bit. This was definitely the most Skaven heavy tournament we've had thus far, but I don't think I don't remember who won the first week. I'll have to go back and check. But Bretonnia won last week and Skaven won this week. So we have not had a back-to-back or I think repeat victory of any race. So I'm super excited to see who is going to show up and play 2 weeks from today. So just a reminder, the next tournament, unless something comes up, will be on May the 19th. So you'll definitely want to not miss that. I will be opening participation for that later today, so people can immediately sign up for that if they like. It's open to all comers, so it doesn't matter what your skill value is. If you'd like to just get in some games and show off a cool list, this is a great place to do it. Hadries on Wood Elves with the first one. Yes, that's correct. Thank you, Volcanos. So we have yet to have a repeat victor, and we also have yet to have a repeat victory race, with Hadries Wood Elves winning week 1, Alric Rawls Bretonians winning week 2, and now Human Boy Yes Yes is Skaven winning week 3. So it's been a very, very nice mix so far. I hope you all have a lovely day. I have to go eat. I've not had breakfast or lunch yet. It's time for lunch. So I'm going to go eat lunch, and then I am going to let my voice rest for a bit, and then I need to make a video talking about all them deets for Warhammer 3. So I hope you're all looking forward to that. Sounds like Black Library was a huge lame bomb, so I'm probably not going to talk about it today, because if it's just Horus Heresy stuff, I could not care less. In any event, hope you all have a great day. I'll see you dudes later. Bye, guys. Oh, if you're on Twitch, we'll do a raid. Don't go anywhere if you're on Twitch. YouTube, bye!